Have you ever felt like your brain has become a pinball machine? A notification here, a quick video there, an infinite scroll on a feed. And when you finally stop, you realize that the simplest task, like reading just 2 pages of a book, feels like climbing Mount Everest. I reached that exact point. It felt like my ability to focus had been stolen from me, and I didn't even notice the theft happening. The problem isn't laziness, and this is where many get it wrong. It's something deeper. Your brain has been hijacked by a constant flow of easy rewards, what I call cheap dopamine. Think of your motivation as a race car. Important tasks, like studying or working on a project, are the high-performance fuel that takes you far. Social media, short videos, fast food, they are a cheap addictive additive. It gives you a burst of speed, but it clogs the engine and, in the end, leaves you stranded on the road with no energy to get anywhere. My engine was blown. I was no longer able to create, to read, or even to hold a quality conversation without feeling that itch in my fingers to grab my phone. I was not in control of my own mind, and that's a terrifying truth to admit. That's when I decided to do something drastic, almost heresy in today's world. For 7 days, I was going to turn off the pinball machine and starve myself of stimuli to see what would happen. And what I discovered about our brain's ability to regenerate, about focus and creativity, was both frightening and absolutely incredible. So stay with me until the end of this video, because I'm not just going to tell you what happened day by day, but I'm going to show you how you can also take back the wheel of your mind. What you're about to see might be the reset you've been needing. Get ready for a silence that will feel almost deafening, an absence that feels heavy. In the first 2 days, your brain, accustomed to a constant feast of easy stimuli, will go into a state of shock. Imagine being thrown into a dark, soundproof room. Your mind, desperate for any signal, will only find the echo of its own impulses. Understand that this lack of focus isn't laziness, but an acute symptom of withdrawal. With every moment of boredom, you'll feel an almost magnetic force pulling your hand toward your phone. This is a visceral crisis, your brain's reward system screaming for its supply of cheap dopamine. It's in this moment that it hits you, and you realize you might not have the control you thought you did, that you've been a passenger reacting to a chemical craving. This internal struggle is proof that you are on the right path to change. To overcome this stage, the decision must be yours, methodical and relentless. You must eliminate not only the obvious, like social media and short videos, but also the subtle thieves of attention, like listening to music while trying to concentrate. Digital blocking tools, like apps, Freedom or Cold Turkey, can be your greatest allies in creating a physical barrier against the old habit, forcing your brain to face the void. Know that this initial phase, the peak of the fog, is the most challenging and where many give up. Anxiety and irritability may become your constant companions, as your brain is literally relearning to exist without continuous external stimulus. However, believe this, it is precisely in this deep vacuum, when the mind seems to have lost its source of pleasure, that it instinctively begins to search for a new light, a spark of color coming from within. Then, on the 3rd day, something extraordinary happens in the midst of the fog. That desperate mental noise begins to subside, and for the first time, silence is not synonymous with panic, but with calm. You'll notice a slight clarity, as if the dust inside your mind is starting to settle. It's not a monumental shift, but a subtle and profound change in your brain's internal environment, which is finally adapting to the new reality without the bombardment of stimuli. It's in this setting that the first real victory emerges, your spark of color. Imagine picking up a book that's been on your nightstand for months, and suddenly you read an entire chapter without feeling the urge to check your phone. It's like watching an old black and white movie and suddenly a flower turns red. This small accomplishment activates a different reward circuit, one your brain had almost forgotten existed. This new feeling of satisfaction isn't like the firework of cheap dopamine, intense but fleeting. Instead, you'll feel it like the warmth of a fireplace, gentle, real, and lasting. It's the genuine reward for effort, for applied focus. To feel this in practice, have a task you've been procrastinating on nearby, whether it's organizing a drawer or reading the first 10 pages of a book like Atomic Habits, and watch the magic happen. By experiencing this achievement, you gain not only the result of the task, but also the proof that control is returning to your hands. That small spot of color in the middle of the gray proves that there is something more valuable than instant gratification. And you'll notice something curious. Boredom, which was once frightening, now starts to sound different, almost like an opportunity, a blank canvas waiting to be filled. Now on the fourth day, the game changes in a way you don't expect. Boredom, which was once your greatest enemy, begins to transform into your most powerful ally. That empty space you felt the need to fill with any distraction now becomes fertile ground. You will discover that the absence of passive consumption forces, almost by a law of nature, active creation within your mind. Think of your brain as a garden that hates a vacuum. When you stop clogging it with the weeds of digital junk, it instinctively begins to fill the space with its own seeds, your ideas. That solution to a problem, that insight for a project, or that genuine desire to write or draw, all of it begins to sprout. You are no longer just receiving information, you are generating value from your own potential. This is why it's vital at this stage to have a capture tool always at hand. It could be a simple notebook, like a moleskin, or even your phone's notepad, used with focus and intention. Ideas will arise in the most unexpected moments, and you need to be ready to write them down. This act of capturing not only saves the idea, but also signals to your brain that you value its creativity, encouraging it to produce even more. This rediscovery of your creative ability is one of the greatest rewards of this journey of control. You realize that the source of inspiration wasn't in an infinite feed, but inside you all along, just waiting for the silence to be able to speak. And this new mental clarity isn't just contained in the world of ideas. You'll start to notice that as you clear the static inside, the picture of the world outside also becomes sharper. The journey now takes you outward. On the fifth day, after clearing the internal noise and rediscovering your creativity, you'll notice that your senses seem to awaken from a long hibernation. This isn't mysticism, it's neuroscience. When your brain stops processing the avalanche of digital information, it frees up enormous capacity to process reality. Your attention is no longer split into 1,000 pieces, so it deepens into the here and now. Think of it this way. It's as if you've lived your whole life watching a 360p recording, and on the fifth day, someone finally hits the button and changes the quality to 4K. The details of the world jump out at you. The taste of food becomes more intense, a conversation becomes more present, and a simple walk through your neighborhood reveals things you had never noticed before. You finally start living in high definition. Try a practical experiment to feel this. Take a cup of your favorite coffee or tea. Drink it without any other distractions. Smell the aroma before the first sip, the temperature, the flavor notes on your tongue. You will rediscover the genuine pleasure that exists in the simplest things, a form of natural and healthy reward that cheap dopamine had overshadowed. It's the rediscovery of a true connection with the present moment. This ability to be fully present is transformative, as it improves your connection with everything and everyone around you. And when all this attention, this ability to see the world in 4K, is channeled into a single task, a single objective, something even more powerful happens. Your focus, which has already improved greatly, is about to evolve into a state that many seek but few truly achieve. In the final days of the journey, you will reap the ultimate reward for all your effort. The clarity, creativity, and presence you've cultivated converge into a legendary state, super focus. It's not something you need to force, you will simply slide into it. Your brain, now free from the constant need for cheap dopamine, is finally operating in its optimal state. The fight against distraction is over, and total immersion begins. Remember what your focus was like before, a dim, diffuse light bulb illuminating everything at once, but nothing with real intensity. Now, you will feel your focus transform into a a directed, potent mental energy capable of cutting through any distraction with surgical precision. The world around you doesn't disappear because you block it out. It disappears because your attention on the task is so complete that nothing else matters. The clearest proof of this state of flow will be your perception of time. You will sit down to perform a complex task, writing a report, studying for an exam, working on a project, and when you look up, you'll realize that 3 hours have passed in the blink of an eye. In this state, there is no effort, only execution. It is the perfect union of your consciousness and the task, the pinnacle of your potential. By the end of these 7 days, you will not have just improved your ability to concentrate. You will have unlocked a new way of operating in the world. The feeling of control over your own mind is the greatest reward of all. The question is no longer, how can I focus? But rather, what am I capable of achieving with this new power? You have reached the top of the mountain, and the view is incredible. So the great lesson from this journey isn't that you need to live in a cave, far from all technology and pleasure. The goal is much more powerful. It's to take back the wheel. I didn't reset my dopamine to zero it out. I reset it to reconfigure what my brain understands as a valuable reward. I taught it, through practice, that the deep satisfaction of a job well done, a finished book or a real conversation, is infinitely superior to the quick high of a like or a 15-second video. True freedom, as I discovered, isn't having access to everything all the time. It's having the power to choose what truly matters and to dedicate your most precious energy, your focus, to it. And now I ask you directly, after seeing all this, who is really in command of your attention? You or the algorithms? Are you in the driver's seat of your own mind, or are you in the passenger seat, being taken wherever they want you to go? I really want to hear your story. Do you feel this way, like your focus has been hijacked? What would you say is your biggest attention thief today? Comment down below, because more than just a video, I want us to build a community of people on this same quest to regain control and live a life with more intention. Let's use this space to support each other. And if you don't just want to do the detox, but want to maintain this clarity in your daily life, the challenge continues. In my next video, I'm going to show you the 5 habits to armor your mind post-detox and protect your focus. To make sure you don't miss it, subscribe to the channel right now and turn on notifications. That way you can continue this journey of transformation with me. A big hug and take the wheel.